in the background. So I believe the order is going to be exactly what we have up here. Ellen was unable to make it today. She's not feeling well.
Okay.
But I have her some slides from a handout that she made, which is the one with the plain text that both of you have on the front. So I felt as though there's a lot of valuable information in there. So we'll start with Ellen's presentation and then move to David and then Julie, and then whatever time we have left, I'll see if I can squeeze something in there. So for now, for this first one, I think we still have some folks who are kind of coming in online. So I'm going to sit for this first one so I can navigate the technology, if that's all right. But welcome everyone to Harmony and Health. My name is Cassandra Mulcahy. I'm the music therapist and moderator of this amazing program. And today we have a really incredible lineup. So thank you all so much for being present here in the moment and also in the future to whoever tunes in online. For those of you who don't know, these are all listed on our Norma Freem YouTube page. So any of the prior workshops you can take a peek at, and I think that Kristen has them all uploaded. So thumbs up to Kristen Murtha for getting this all rolling. So let's see. So this is a presentation by Ellen Riccardi, and I'm trying to find my mouse here so I can hide. Okay. There we are. Yes, we will continue to share. All right, so this is Ellen Riccardi. She is our psychotherapist, and she's just an amazing, she always offers some really grounding, amazing contributions. So I will do my best to give her content some justice, but she gave us a lot of really beautiful tools and techniques to incorporate. The first one is the awareness of cortisol. So good to be aware of this. This is our stress hormone that impacts our body. It's released by the adrenal gland in response to a physical or mental threat. And it triggers the flight or fight response in our body. It helps regulate everything from sleep cycles and inflammation to blood pressure and blood sugar levels. Thank you so much. We do have some handouts. So if you guys, I know that the two of you who are online have my email. So if you send me an email, I would be super happy to send the handouts over. But for now, we've got this. So cortisol isn't inherently bad. It's necessary and helpful in the short term. And long-term exposure can lead to chronic stress responses, which can contribute to anxiety and depression, fatigue, inflammation, and other negative medical conditions. Ellen shares that it's important to accept that stress is inevitable. Not all stress is bad. Sometimes the anticipation and expectation can be worse than the event. So a grounding technique might be to remind yourself that emotions ebb and flow and stressors come and go. I love that as a mantra. The rhyme is really, really incredible. So you can lean into accepting your emotions and not judging. So it's a great mindfulness perspective, that non-judgmental awareness. And that doesn't mean that you have to like them, of course, but not judging whether those emotions are, positive or negative, and working on that sense of acceptance. So she has some techniques to settle the mind, such as daily meditation. Consistency is more important than length, she says. Helps to set up a positive intention for the day. Mindfulness, again, paying attention to the moment without judgment. It can allow you to interrupt the cycle of stress. Journaling is another great technique to reduce stress, anxiety, and rumination by releasing those feelings. Gratitude is another great practice to shift the perspective from negative to positive thoughts. Breath is such an important practice. We can regularly practice engaging in slow breathing exercises, which can reduce stress reactivity, including our cortisol levels and blood pressure. The use of controlled breathing techniques in yoga is why a single yoga session has been shown to reduce stress significantly. And movement is particularly fantastic. Ellen also recommends modifying your diet. Anti-inflammatory diets can counteract the impact of cortisol. Foods high in B vitamins, especially B12, can be useful. Foods high in omega-3s, such as oily fish, avocados, walnuts, chia seeds, flax seeds, and olive oil. Foods high in magnesium can help. Foods that help regulate blood sugar, that help promote a healthy gut, such as prebiotics and probiotics. Whole foods and vegetables, yogurt, kimchi, kombucha, kefir, and sauerkraut, and staying well hydrated. I think if you need any additional information, our nutritionist
Lisa
is fabulous. Lisa is fabulous.
She's great.
So she's joined us for a few of these and has talked about anti-inflammatory foods. There's actually a whole nother talk on inflammation and foods up on our YouTube page. So check it out for more information. Being mindful of your schedule. Now we're kind of coming into the idea of holiday stress and how to manage and navigate it. So of course the holiday season is often very hectic. You don't need to do it all. Focus the majority of your energy on time regarding what you really want and really enjoy versus what you feel you should be doing. Maybe it's time to modify some traditions, she suggests. Taking time for yourself, giving yourself the gift of time for the holidays can be so invaluable. Taking a break from rushing around, and she's shopping, cooking, decorating, cleaning, all of the things, because our energy is precious and limited. Maybe taking time to nap, read a book, watch a movie or TV show, go for a walk, get a massage. Marcy's a great massage therapist too. We'll just kind of plug all of our friends upstairs. And then enjoying family on your own terms. I'm sure that Ellen has a lot to say about setting boundaries and being able to know when you need that time and space to yourself. And of course, it's so enjoyable to spend time with family, but it can also be stressful. So doing what you need to take care of yourself and set boundaries. If necessary, taking a break from a gathering, going for a walk, or calling somebody that you enjoy talking to or walking with, and taking some alone time can be really helpful. I love this. Respect differences. There's a lot that can divide us and bring tension to social gatherings. So doing your best to find focus on common ground can be helpful. And if that's not working as effectively as you would like, set a clear boundary or take a break from the interaction. And she also suggests making space for losses. The holidays can be especially painful if you've lost loved ones. So see if you can make some space for your grief, and consider modifying traditions to incorporate ways to honor our loved ones who are no longer with us. Intentionality and well-being is a skill. If you practice it consistently, you will get better at it. Put a dedicated time, like a doctor's appointment, into your schedule to practice well-being. So even if it's once a week or something, just make your well-being appointment with yourself. Harness small moments, such as 10 minutes a day, to nurture your mind and your body. I would add in your spirit too. And the benefits are that you'll feel better. Inflammation and cortisol levels will decrease, and resilience and the ability to navigate life stressors will also increase. So thank you so much, Ellen, wherever you are. So much gratitude for your piece there. Does anyone want to chime in and offer any thoughts or reflections or perspectives on that?
I have found that I can change the way if I start feeling stressed.
Yeah.
Particularly if I'm overscheduled, which I try to avoid, but if it happens, instead of getting anxious about it, I just say to myself, I can deal with it, or I can handle this. And I feel like that simple change in thought helps me kind of let go of some of the tension, anxiety.
I think I'm hearing that technique of reassuring yourself and validating what's going on.
Yeah.
Love that.
I find it's easiest just to do all that stuff when you first get up. I do my qigong, I do a little bit of movement and stuff for myself. I go out and go for a walk, and then I start the day.
Love that.
It helps a lot.
Take care of yourself first.
Yep. Because you lose time as the day goes on.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Get it in the beginning.
Yeah. Beautiful practice. Focus on that self right away. All right. All right. Round of applause for David. Here's his presentation on cultivating calm.
I like this new video setup. This is great. Oop, that's where it ends.
There you go.
Hello, everyone. My name is David McLean. I'm the acupuncturist here at the Integrative Medicine Department. I was going to have a different talk, today about, Chinese medicine has so much to say about lifestyle, they call it cultivation, actually. It comes from Taoism, I think we all know the yin-yang symbol, right? So much comes from that, which is the yin-yang symbol. We've seen it so many times. I think we might be a little bit immune to what it really means, but it's really about balance. It's about balancing, this and that, night and day, activity and rest, work and play, all that. So I ended up doing something different, but it was interesting that Ellen's talk actually was a lot about balance. And so I'm glad I didn't cover that. She said a lot of great things about balance, and I think when we go back and see our families, or we see, we travel, we do all these things, presented with our old self, and we're bringing our new self. One thing Chinese medicine always says is, rather than saying yes to everything or no to everything, we can do something in the middle. We really can say yes to some things and no to some things. And it just creates less what we call stagnation. And it's good to be a little malleable, Your day is going to go a lot easier. So, actually, my talk today is a little bit different. I tried to keep it pretty simple when I've talked about acupressure before, which is a technique you can give yourself a little acupuncture treatment on your own. So by just pressing on the acupuncture points. So I kept it pretty simple. But let's talk a little bit about, the holidays and how that meets Chinese medicine. Let's see where we are. Okay. So when we travel, it's a stress on the body. We're sitting in the same position on the plane, or we're in a long car ride, and eventually that lack of normal blood flow begins to affect us. And where that affects us first is the liver. And there's a whole term for this in Chinese medicine. There's all kinds of herbal remedies for this. There's all kinds of acupuncture treatments, as well as lifestyle prescriptions for this. So, what are the symptoms of what we call stagnant liver qi? This is the most common malady in the Northeast. Not so much in the South, actually. They may suffer from some other things as a group. This is a generalization, but the Northeast is definitely the worst place that gets stagnant liver qi. And there's a couple key symptoms to look out for. One is that we're annoyed. And if you ever hear yourself going, everything that comes over you gets kind of stuck and stop and gets a reaction off of us rather than us flowing with it. Looks like someone wants to get in here.
I'll take it.
Thank you. And we also get digestive issues. We may alternate between constipation and diarrhea. And there often is this insomnia that happens between 1 and 3 a.m. So what else we got? The other one is abdominal distension. So after you eat a meal, you sort of feel this discomfort here in the stomach. Like a sort of a bloated feeling, or just an uncomfortable little bit of a pain over the belly. So you could have that after overeating, but stress makes that worse. So that is the symptoms of stagnant liver qi. And let's see, it also produces this kind of exhaustion. We have like a burst of energy and then we're exhausted, and then a burst of energy and then we're exhausted. So how to treat it? The number one way to treat this at home is to do exercise. Exercise really ameliorates this effect. It runs a lot of blood through the system. The liver is always processing blood through the hepatic portal vein. It's taking in blood and cleaning it a little more often at night. It's cleaning up toxins. So whether we're speeding up this process or slowing it down will affect how this works. So if we're exercising, we're running the blood through the filter rate at a greater rate. We're really just running the whole system faster. Your heart is pumping this blood. Everything is moving quickly. This is basically the opposite of what's happening on your commute where you're sitting static. Okay, and more toxins will give the liver more work to do. So that would be on the other side. So alcohol, lots of medications, a lot of medications that you need. And, anyway, it builds up in the system. Another thing is sugar. Sugar seems to make this a little bit worse too, makes that exhaustion happen and lifts us up and then drops us. A little more to say about the sugar part later. Okay, so how can we treat this at home? Basically, people call this, I'm stressed out. How are you feeling, buddy? I'm stressed out. Is the response, right? I think we all know this. We also could put your hand on your friend's shoulders here, and these trapezius muscles are rock hard because they're always elevating their scapula with the trapezius towards the ears. This is like this old reflex we have to protect ourselves. And it doesn't really help protect us because we're not in any physical, most of the time, hopefully never a physical threatening situation to protect ourselves. But we're still doing that. But after a while, those muscles tighten up and that can block blood flow as well. But here we go, a couple acupuncture points. The first most important point is called liver 3. And maybe I can just fast forward one right there, liver 3. Between the first and second toe on the foot, you'll feel this depression there. It's slightly tender. Wonderful to just come in with your thumb and just bring that pressure right in. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. It kind of hurts so good. So please try this. You're watching TV. It may be a little tender at first. This will build up. You can't really overdo this. We don't want to bruise ourselves, but this is a great treatment. You really can come in with some nice sustained pressure right with that thumb in between those two metatarsal bones. Any of that frustration, anger, feeling stuck, I'm stressed out, you can come right in there. And this is part of a treatment called the 4 gates. I mention it here. Liver 3 and large intestine 4. So the other point is on the hand, and it really mirrors the foot. If you look at it, if the thumb were the big toe, it's really in the same spot. So we're just coming in, Some people, when they got a massage or something, someone may have really pressed here. This is maybe a little more uncomfortable than the one in the foot on many people. It's quite tender, but you can get quite close to the junction of those two metacarpals. So right at where the base of the thumb connects to the rest of the hand there, coming right in. That is a great point. That's for the large intestine meridian. It does go to the head and to the face. All the yang meridians go to the face, and the yin meridians go to the torso. So, yeah, those two points work great together. That is just a nice treatment you can do for yourself while you're doing something else. While you're talking to someone on the phone, you can put your earphones in and do this. Maybe it's not that conversation you want to have. Great time to do it. Make use of it. There we go. So those are those two. And we're going to talk about something else. This is kind of out of the realm of unless you're familiar with some of this theory before, but I have found this to be absolutely 100% true with so many of my clients coming in, especially during the holidays, is something called dampness. And what we really mean here is some sort of waterlogging of the tissues. The tissues are taking on too much water. The easiest way to kind of illustrate this is anyone have ever gone into keto or done any diet where they stop eating carbs. Immediately what happens is your body starts to shed all this water. And that is like a dampness collection in the tissues. And so let's see, just reading my notes here. Okay, so there are Western medical conditions, obviously, like edema and, COPD, heart conditions, where we really, the water, in a very unhealthy way, we can become loaded with water, in a life-threatening way. We're not talking about those conditions here. We're talking about something else, which is really caused by eating too much sugar. Definitely wine is a big culprit as well because there's so much sugar in it. In addition, the alcohol makes it worse. But people with a sweet tooth we're looking at, when they stick their tongue out, it might be quite swollen. You might see some teeth marks on the side of the tongue because it's so swollen that it's pressing up against the teeth. You can look in the mirror, you can look at your friend's tongue. It's interesting how much variance there is in between tongues, but tongues can be very swollen. So let's see, how else would this manifest in the body? So people with dampness are really tired all the time. They really feel sluggish and dragged down. And all these tissues, all these cells are moving everything around the body, but when there's too much water in the tissues, it struggles to do that. This doesn't really show up on any Western tests very well. If it's really bad, you will have pitting edema on the legs and you can push in, but you cannot have that and really suffer from edema, from dampness rather, absolutely. So sluggish, loose stools is really common here. Most of the time they go to the bathroom, it's too loose, it's not formed. And also these people can really present as depressed over long times. And then we have the sugar because we're feeling kind of low and it picks us up and then it drops us. Western medicine shows that kind of glycemic roller coaster, right? We take some sugar and then we drop. How are we doing on time? Okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. And so how do we treat this? We reduce the sugar. I can't say how much better your energy will be if it's just occasion, And as we spoke earlier, you don't have to say, I'm going to go completely off sugar, completely on. It's really taxing to do that. So what I've found is I recommend to my clients to reduce sugar. You don't have to reduce, you don't have to stop, but you do have to reduce. And usually they start to feel so much better that they kind of chip away at the rest on their own because they right away notice that this really does make a big difference. So stress we can work on, we can get better, we can do the exercise, we can do those points, but the dampness takes longer than the stagnant liver qi. It takes time to get that out. There are herbal formulas to do this. There's all more advanced acupuncture treatments than what we're talking about. Let's see what we got here. So let's talk about the main acupuncture point here. Oh yeah, I'm talking about, when you have sugar, you kind of want more sugar. It's that roller coaster and you can get stuck on it. Just try to just have a bite or two, wine especially. In Chinese medicine, it's very interesting. They say that actually a half glass of wine can be extremely healthy. It thins the blood and everything really circulates well. But after the half glass, the toxicity becomes an issue. And so you're actually in the negative. So what was medicinal for a little while, after a while it starts to actually give the body more work to do and can cause either of these conditions actually. Stagnant liver qi and dampness. I think we're approaching what we call a hangover, right? Or some, maybe just a mild portion of that, right? Okay. So the number one treatment point for dampness is spleen 9. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is on the inside of your leg, below your knee. You can feel sort of a nook in the bone there. and it's quite tender on just about everyone. You can kind of come in and grab that. Do you feel that notch?
Yeah.
Yep. So we come off the knee, right, and there's a notch where the knee narrows quite quickly into the tibia bone. You feel quite a bit of tenderness there. And the same thing, you can come in with the thumb, sustain pressure there. Come right into that tenderness. I know it's tender, but it's great. And it really affects the GYN area. Actually, that meridian comes right up in men as well. So right up past the genital area, really affecting that, really sluggishness, slowing things down. Both these conditions make the cycle more difficult. But this actually really is related more to urination. Let's see. Okay, so in identifying these 3 points for your home treatments, they're all very soft and they're right next to bone. Okay. These can be done before any issues arise. You don't have to wait for these to happen. These are really great health tonics, and really the effect is cumulative. It's great to take your time out for yourself. I know these seem like, if you haven't practiced them before or you're unused to them, they really are helpful. You can't overdo these. Don't bruise yourself. If your knee hurts, you're pressing too hard on spleen 9, but there's, just like we said before, there's the right amount of pressure, which is not too much and not too little. You should feel some tenderness as you press. And, 2 minutes is good. Move on to the next point. Try these out and see how you feel. You can always get in touch with me. I'll just say it right now, in case maybe we can text it later. I can give you my email address. You can totally text me with questions or email me with questions rather. Love to answer any feedback people have on these home treatments. This helps. If you're stuck at home with some people that you're having trouble with, maybe this is definitely worthwhile. Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, David. That was fascinating.
Minimize one of my. All right, we have Julie up next. That's what I'm looking to do. All right.
Oh, yeah, this is really interesting.
I know, I like it.
Am I in the right?
Yeah, I'm gonna scoot that up
Okay.
forward a little.
Well, goodness, I just loved Ellen's presentation, even though it was not in person. I loved what you shared, David. I love self-acupressure, and I learned a lot. And I think I appreciate the depth of knowledge on these simple practices. So I really appreciate that. There's always a lot to say about how to find calm during the chaos. And Qigong is a wonderful practice to help you find calm within your body. Some of you know from practicing how good you feel after you do even 5 minutes of quality practice. And I think why that happens, the alchemy that happens in the class, is that we're slowing down. And that's what matters. So I left to drive here and I left my phone at home. And my immediate response was, oh no, I should go back and get it. I'm like, oh no, I don't have time, right? I have this drive ahead of me and I like to drive actually at a pretty slow pace. And so when I say slow down, not just in your Qigong movements or your yoga or your breathing, but while you're cooking, while you're chopping your vegetables, while you're washing your dishes. And as I was driving here, NPR had a great little segment on shopping, of course, with the holidays coming up. And the concept of slow shopping. They didn't actually term it slow shopping, but I termed it that way because what the person that they were interviewing shared was the importance of pausing before you make a purchase. right? Because we all buy things that we have that buyer's like regret, like, oh, these shoes hurt. Why did I buy those? So pausing. So slow your shopping down this season. And I'll just start with a reading from the Tao Te Ching, which is all about finding harmony and balance. This is chapter 9, and this is Stephen Mitchell's version. Fill your bowl to the brim, and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife, and it will blunt. Chase after money and security, and your heart will never unclench. Care about other people's approval, and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. So very much about, knowing when to stop. And what is the right amount of effort? And I think David mentioned the middle way. We tend to overdo. We tend to overexercise, overexert, overextend for our families, for our animals. And then at the end of the day, like Kathy was saying, there's not enough energy to take care of yourself. So what is the right amount of effort in everything you do? So I thought we could start with some Qigong breathing. And let's do this together. So feel free, if you're on Zoom or if you're in person, feel free to stand if you wish. Might be nice to stretch your legs. And we'll do a little Qigong movement, but we're really just going to focus on the breathing. And the movement is called flowing motion. It's an inhale as your arms rise up, and an exhale as your arms flow down like they're water going down a mountainside. The inhale, palms facing up like you're absorbing that full moon. Exhale, long, slow, deep, palms facing down, listening to the earth. Then you might say to yourself, as I breathe in, I know that I'm breathing in. As I breathe out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. Really simple. Then you just say, in, out, through your mouth. And then you might say, as I breathe in, I notice my breath is slow. And as I breathe out, I notice my breath is deep. And then you might repeat the words, slow as you breathe in, and deep as you exhale. And then you can go one step further. As I take an in-breath, I feel calm. As I breathe out, I am at ease. And then just the words, calm, ease. Nice. Stay standing. Ellen mentioned setting intention. And I think that is really about making the landscape of your mind beautiful. So we're going to set some intentions with movement. And it's as if we are selectively watering the good things in our mind. Because there's a lot of negativity in our mind too. We don't want to water the negative seeds. We're going to water the wholesome seeds, the stuff that makes us feel good. Chi bath, inhale, just simple affirmation. All is well in my world. Like you're selectively watering that message of positivity into your bones. Inhale. I let go of expectation. Water the importance of listening to yourself and not pleasing other people always. Last one. Long, slow, smooth inhale. I listen to my inner guide, and I listen with loving awareness. Very good. So I love pairing or marrying movement with intention. What else did I write down? Give yourself time and space every day to pause. Ellen, David, we all spoke about that. Everyone knows it's all about giving yourself time every day. Yet we often don't do it, or we only do it once a week. I encourage you this holiday season to give yourself time and space every day. So here's a movement. Inhale, just join me. You don't need any knowledge about these forms, you just jump right in. Like you're a wide-winged bird, you're expanding and contracting. Your arms are extensions of your heart. You can feel your lungs expanding with this. You can feel your heart opening. It's a long inhale as you pull the earth up and then land back down on the earth. Now this time as you inhale to shoulder height, I want you to pull your hands in like you have two little birds on the side. And then I want you to exhale and take up space. Really take up space. Soften the palms. Inhale. Contract. Exhale. Say, I deserve to take up space. Smile. Inhale. Exhale. Set some boundaries as you push out. The pushing is like alchemy. Pushing and pressing out what no longer serves you, but with dignity and respect. So this movement, for me, is about boundary setting and taking up space. And then go down into the earth and fold her earthly yin into your body. Listen lovingly to your lungs and what they're communicating to you in the season of overdoing, and listen to what is hiding in your body emotionally and energetically, and smile to it. And then pull out a layer. Move your hands away from your body, and then imagine just letting it down, releasing into the earth, letting the sky support you, and surround yourself in an orb of moonlight. Pure white light, a cocoon of protection. You are protected and safe. Nice. It's another movement. I love that. It's actually called Fire Phoenix Rises from the Ashes, or Fire Phoenix Takes Flight. Here's another tip I have for you, and it's to be in nature. It is a great way to lessen stress. And we are inside. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to use our imagination. Because actually it shows that using your imagination has big impact on your nervous system. So all we're going to do is open our wings up, and we're going to gentle spinal twist. And I want you to imagine with your eyes closed or soft gaze that you're in a forest and you're absorbing the green of the trees, the smell and scent of pine, feeling the earth below your feet, grounded and safe and rooted, and that vast expanse of sky above your head. We're in a conference room. I encourage you all to remove the ceiling and feel the vastness of the constellations above you as you connect to the stars and the galaxies and all of your dreams. Nice. And of course, you can always bring your hands back over your heart, which is a really precious point to just listen to. That's another thing I do during the holidays, is I take time every day to be outside. And if you can't get outside, you're like that rendering of the cat looking out the window. You just visualize you're outside. Here's another thing I do. At the end of each day, I might write in a journal, I might record my gratitudes, and I might bathe my feet. So let's imagine we're going to do a standing meditation. Feet about hip width apart. If you want to sit, you can do that too. I want you to imagine your feet are submerged in the earth or water. And I want you to imagine this discharging effect of draining out stress through your feet, especially through the center of each foot, your kidney 1 point. Allow the body to let go of excess. Not that it's bad, just that you don't need to carry it anymore. So breathe out through your feet. It is super grounding. Imagine you have nostrils in the soles of your feet, and you're taking long, slow, deep, gentle exhales to allow the body to decompress. If you want, imagine now your feet are in a foot bath of dead sea salts, maybe some baking soda, some bentonite clay, some borax, some ginger, and just let the body ground, recharge, and recalibrate. A 20-minute foot bath. And I can send you a recipe for that. Last thing I do is, and this is just the last Qigong practice, is we're gonna shake. We're gonna shake and shimmy and move the body to reset the nervous system. Do your own shaking, like you're some animal in the wild that's just had a stressful encounter. And shake it off. Smile as you're shaking. Maybe tap your heels to pump the lymph very gently and to feel the cells getting recharged. Smile as you're shaking. Let your body breathe. Let the armpits breathe. Connect with nature. Twist and turn. And invite any fatigue or sluggishness to the surface because it's right now leaving your body. And then lastly, side to side. It's kind of like shaking, but it's an organ massage. And I just want you to think about shaking a mason jar. And as you shake that mason jar, you're allowing the fatigue or anything hiding, that long fatigue, as David was saying, dampness in the body. It suddenly is just able to be released. Nice job. Bring your hands together, warm them up. Take a quiet moment to just say a blessing. Take that pause to feel grounded, to send a message of loving kindness to yourself. Thank the earth. Make a diamond over the body, just to have gratitude for all that you are and all that you offer into the world. And then brush up your central channel and bow down to be of service to others. Thanks so much for having me, Cassandra, for those wonderful programs you put together, and for David's incredible wisdom, and for all that are listening. I appreciate your presence. And I can't wait to have Cassandra now take the stage.
Thank you so
Thank you, Julie. This is wonderful.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. So I've got so many techniques that I can tune in with, but I have a little bit of a process today. First I thought that it would be, so we're going to do a little music ritual to release, like just a simple meditation. But I find that it can be very helpful to name what we're holding on to. Many times we're not often aware of what we're clenching onto, what we're holding onto. Certainly in my work in inpatient and outpatient psychiatry, a lot of people have things going on under the surface that they feel are normal, regular, everyday things. But if you're able to extract them, you can see that they don't necessarily belong. In particular, folks who have had trauma or are currently experiencing patterns of abuse. But on much more subtle levels, it can be important to explore what's going on. So we have the idea of physical holding. Of course, tension stored in the body that can be softened through rhythm, breath, or tone. There's, of course, like a musical element to what I'm going through, or the way that I'll be approaching this. So we've got the possibility of tight shoulders, jaw, or chest from consistent bracing, shallow breathing or breath holding during overwhelm. We might have clenched fists, stomach or pelvic muscles, fatigue masked by caffeine or adrenaline, restless pacing or the inability to be still. And things that can help are a slower music tempo. Now let me make sure that I'm going to pause this for a moment because I want to make sure that folks over Zoom can hear what's going on. You can't now. There we go. So there's a special little sound for musicians button that I have to tune in with. So yes, we want to continue to share, and we're back on. So physical holdings, slower tempos can help. And our body magically but naturally entrains to the rhythm of music. So if you are at a fast pace from all that beautiful shaking and release before, you might notice the body kind of grounding into a simple rhythm. You could do body percussion paired with your breath, humming into tension points. There's a lot of vocal toning and release exploration that we can do, or playing sustained tones that mirror the release and the body's tension pattern. Another type of holding that we might have is mental holding. We might find ourselves in some cognitive dissonance over identification with thoughts, planning, or perfectionism. And these are real, so I'll just invite you to explore yourself from a space of non-judgmental awareness, that it's okay, we all hold some of these patterns of tension in life, and it's just important to kind of notice what traps we fall into in our patterns. So we might find ourselves overthinking or replaying conversations, trying to get it all done or anticipate every need. We might find ourselves holding self-criticism or comparison, cognitive overload from multitasking, or holding unrealistic expectations of control. So things that might help are gentle repetitive melodies, minimalist, delicate soundscapes, improvisation with limited notes, and that adds like a sense of spaciousness to allow ourselves to let go, or periods of intentional silence between tones to create mental spaciousness. So I'll invite you just now, if you feel comfortable, you don't have to do anything, but you're welcome. Let's see if we can kind of sing and then pause, and sing and pause. So I'm going to use a humming sound. So taking a soft breath in. And now I'm going to pause for 4, 3, 2, 1 again. And pause for 3, 2 more times. Pause. So we're inviting in that spaciousness and almost fighting our tendency to kind of fill the space and the noise. So another type of holding that we might naturally do is emotional holding, which can be suppressing or carrying unprocessed feelings, especially grief, worry, or guilt. And that can look like suppressed sadness or anger, carrying others' emotions or caregiving fatigue, emotional numbness disguised as composure, guilt for resting or saying no, or fear of disapproving our loved ones during the holiday season. Something that we could do is free vocalization, songwriting for self-expression. I've got a songwriting group that I've been tuning in with lately. A slow melodic improvisation and minor modal keys, or rhythm work that matches and then resolves the emotional intensity. So I'll just invite you to explore your voice right now without judgment and to notice where it goes. You can stay on one pitch. You can just notice your breath and notice the silence and spaciousness. But an invitation to release whatever is in process. You're welcome to continue toning over that. Another type of holding that we might engage in is the idea of relational holding, which is energy tied up in dynamics of care, boundaries, or belonging. It could look like over-functioning in relationships, being the one who keeps it all together. Pleasing others at the expense of self-care. Carrying family tension or unresolved patterns, consciously or subconsciously. Holding silence to avoid conflict. Feeling responsible for everyone's peace. And what you could do musically could be a call and response drumming or singing. Exploring harmony and dissonance as metaphors for boundaries. Just a whole nother experience. And noticing how shared rhythm can soothe without self-erasure. In some of the groups, I've got a rhythm resonance group that we explore creative writing and kind of musical metaphors like this. Can allow you to kind of deeper process things from a nonverbal level. So another type of holding we have is spiritual or existential holding. The weight of meaning making, uncertainty, or disconnection. We might feel pressure to feel grateful or joyful for struggling. We might question purpose or direction. We might feel a loss of connection to ritual or inner peace. We might have a sense of cynicism or spiritual fatigue. And we might also feel cut off from awe, wonder, or nature, or just the magic of everyday life. And what this could look like is chanting. We can immerse ourselves in nature sounds, droning or toning with bells, meditative listening, or finding or creating a sound that feels like home to the soul. And it can be helpful to find that sound and just place it somewhere in your house. I know I've got little singing bowls and bells and things kicking around everywhere. I think we already did that, yeah. These are just some resources that I pulled from for this presentation. But I'll invite everyone to take a few moments and breathe and soften. I'm going to turn off some of the bright lights in here so you can get kind of. And I'll invite you to notice the rhythm of your breath. See if you can gradually expand and deepen that rhythm of the breath. Visualize that breath moving in through the center of the heart. And as you exhale, feel it moving out around the space surrounding the heart. In through the heart, out around the space. And then feel the shoulders lower with every breath, allowing the sound to anchor you in the moment. And in the mind's eye, imagine a soft snowfall, a quiet forest, and with each breath, allowing what no longer needs, what no longer serves you to gently melt away. Melting away worry, melting away pressure, melting away expectation. And then invite in the idea of something you wish to let go of this season. What would you like to release? Perhaps it's one of the ways of holding, or a feeling, or a sense or sensation. And then you're invited to notice what you wish to make space for instead. And then allow yourself to gently step back from that soft snowfall, that quiet forest, and back into the light of the heart, feeling the air flow in through the center of the heart, and out through the heart. And then begin to notice the sense of the body feeling supported by the chair below you. Taking as much time as you need, you're welcome to open the eyes whenever you're ready. Perhaps inviting a sense of rhythm or movement into the fingers or toes. Inside the packet that I shared with you, on the second page, there's a space to just reflect briefly on what you feel as though you would like to release. So if you're doing this with us at home, I'll invite you to grab a pen and paper real quick. And just jot down, or you can write a picture, you can write shapes, what you'd like to release. And what you'd like to invite in. Just kind of sealing that intention. Yes. Feel free to continue writing down your reflections. I'm going to pass out for those of us who are in the room. We're going to do just a brief, 3 to 5 minute drumming exercise to work on that release. We did some shaking, and now we're going to do some drumming. For those of you at home, if you've got a drum, you can scoop it up and use it. If you are welcome to use a pot and pan, you're also welcome to use your hands and your legs. You've got plenty of tools for this right now. I saw you like on me. This one to you, David. That's nice. Out there. All right, if you're at home, you're welcome to use your hands on your legs, or you can tuck your hand on your heart. So we're just taking a moment and grounding back into the body and being aware of what has softened or released during this time together today. And when we're ready, we'll find a rhythm that feels steady, not rushed, and not forced. Sound to move through anything that feels heavy, that feels stuck, that feels awkward, that feels uncertain. Let the sound roll right through it. you all so much for the release, for the sound, for this collective offering together.
It's great. My bones feel like they're buzzing.
Yeah,
Great.
that one
Energy.
is such a resonant drum. It's
What?
this drum is very resonant. It's just got such a depth to it that you can really feel. Yeah. Yeah, I'll use that one for like drum massages on people. Just the waves.
I feel it.
Would you like one?
Sure.
To me quickly. All right, have a beautiful evening, everyone. Take care, and we'll be back here next in January for another Harmony and Health. And we've got a retreat coming up on November 19th in Fairfield that's actually sold out right now. And there's so many other really lovely options here at Integrative Medicine. So stop by sometime and come and continue to learn from this really gorgeous panel of experts. So thank you guys all so much for being part of this. Big gratitude.
Thank you for the opportunity.